Francisco Perez. Welcome to another educational lesson. So we're going to be going back into this video, this documentary, and we're going to start off where we left off, where they're at Walmart. And see, it's a little heated, but later on in the video you're going to understand why they're so mad because of what had happened. Not just that they dug up the burials, they went way beyond disturbing burial sites, which is already a crime in itself. So we're gonna get back into it. I think I had something else to say, but I don't remember. Alright, let's go.
If Bush's ancestors were buried here, do you think there'd be a Walmart?
I definitely feel that this is an important issue, and I definitely support it.
How would you like it if I take up your Japanese cemetery wall? As far as you Holly, wow, you guys don't even have a culture. You're less than 200, you're only 200 years old.
What is their culture? Baseball, hot dog, apple pie, and Walmart.
If Bush's ancestors were buried here, do you think there'd be a Walmart?
Bush? No, probably not.
So everybody is just people.
Would you step on your grandmother's grave?
Making a profit off of the further disturbance and desecration of our ancestors. That is the ultimate slap in the face to Hawaiians.
This will be the area where the Ibi Kupuna would be reinterred. They were removed just maybe about 20-30 feet away from where they're going to be laid back to rest. So isn't that's sickening?
The conflict between who we are and the prevention of us being who we are creates
Ultimate slap in the face to Hawaiians.
This will be the area where the Ibi Kupuna would be reinterred. They were removed just maybe about 20-30 feet away from where they're going to be laid back to rest. So isn't that's sickening?
the conflict between who we are and the prevention of us being who we are creates, you know, what Fanon called the brain is sliced in half, because half of you is native and you're living in a non-native world.
You're Hawaiian? You're driving over your kupuna? What's it feel like? How's that feel? Can you give me an interview?
That's what it's all about. You put your right hand in, you put your right hand out, you put your right hand in and you shake it up. You do the whole yourself about. That's what it's all about. You put your left hand in, you put your left hand out, you put your left hand in and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself about.
At the end of 2008, and we still haven't reinterred the Ibi Kupuna that were placed in containers under the...
Now listen, this is the reason why we're so mad. Not only do you hide our history, destroy our culture, destroy our minds, and kidnap our kids, our children. This is what you do when you desecrate our burials. Listen to this.
the driveway. And what's worse is that one of the archaeologists desecrated our...
Now you gotta understand, a lot of the bad guys are these archaeologists. What happened in the last video? The archaeologists discovered a burial chamber, so they went and sledgehammer everything to find out what's inside, see what kind of gems they would find inside, and they found our bones. And he was like, well, you know, that's justified. It would have never been found if it wasn't for me and my sledgehammer. Getting paid $1.5 million. Now, Sam's Club, Walmart is paying these archaeologists to dig out these bones so that they can make a Walmart there. Now look what happens.
They had taken a hand from the Eevee, placed it in a paper
So Eevee is burial. Kapuna is your grandmas, your ancestors.
bag and wrote on it Louis Vuitton handbag.
So they would take one of our chiefs or one of our ancestors' hands and made a Louis Vuitton handbag out of it. For real, if you think I'm playing. Check this shit out. One of my friends just post a post of things that was done in the past. Oh man. Oh man, I ain't gonna find it. Alright, you know what? Well, but I guarantee can put in this. Handbags made of skin. So what they used to do was they used to use our bodies and our dead bodies and make handbags out of it. You see, they don't want this information out there. These guys been harassing me all fucking day. I can barely get this video going. So he had photos from colonization of like handbags like this, made from human skin that they have made. So this is nothing new. Everyone did this. So they said, oh, I want to have a Hawaiian, from a Hawaiian chief. Yeah, let's make a handbag out of his fucking hands. Oh, man.
So how does that make you feel?
Yeah, I think I know it is. I think I remember. Tyrone. Show me the money. Boom, here we go. Actual events in the U.S. Remember your history. Slave skin purses. Slave skin purses. So they was like, let's take these Afro people and let's make some purses and wallets out of them. Forget them.
That is settler colonialism. It's about replacing the indigenous people within their own landscape. And we need to look at that. Occupation is a part of colonialism. Tourism militarism, those are material forces, and they change the way people who are native endure or don't endure. How can you possibly live a native life in that situation? Your life is being in the colony and being colonized and fighting it. If you survive, you yourself are targeted, you yourself are defined by blood quantum, you yourself are commodified, and then you have to fight for and live with and understand that the place you live in is commodified. That objectification of Hawaiians is in great part due to the Western imagination. Propaganda is a material force. It is no longer just ideology. Not that ideology can't be a material force, but you have to understand how it functions. And once you do understand it, that itself can make you go off, because it is so horrible. It is so horrible. Television is horrible. The way people mimic Hawaiians, the way non-Hawaiians can dance hula and participate in language classes and pretend that they are Hawaiians. Not just tourism that did it. It's the idea that somewhere out there in the world is the native, and you can discover it and you can actually take it over. It can become a part of you. Ethnic cleansing isn't just something that they do physically to people. It's something that happens in your mind. Every people is accustomed to their natural environment. This is not our natural environment anymore. This is a tourist environment. This is a military environment.
She's in Kalihi every week. Shaft that grew up right down the road from this place.
The military police.
Oh, you guys are. Leave me alone. I know I can do.
'Cause that's the real story right here. Get those faces.
Look at this place as a thing, a stop in their career, right? So they don't care.
You know what land you're on? You know what land you're on? You're on Native Hawaiian land.
They don't give a shit.
Fuck you! We don't want to be here, you dumb Asians.
Get out of here.
Hawaiians.
Hawaii is home to the largest military command in the world. Pacific Command, PACOM.
Well, you're speaking like you don't know how to talk English. Why don't you let your
Don't know how
man
to
take
talk
over,
English.
you dumb asshole?
He's speaking proper English himself.
It stems from the grammatical structure of Olelo Hawaii.
You know what? I don't give a shit.
The number of military personnel who have trained for combat in Hawaii is not available because it's so much. They don't want that information. Neither is the number of men, women, and children who have suffered and or died as a result of that training.
You cannot set up a military installation in a neutral country.
You feel me?
Otherwise, you bring that country into harm's way. December 7, 1941. Hawaii was attacked because of Pearl Harbor. It wasn't attacked because Hawaii's sovereignty. That's the problem. Also, Hawaii's targeted for nuclear strikes by Russia and China. The question now is, or what was posed earlier, could Korea reach Hawaii? That's why we have barking sands. We have intercept missiles. The whole point is to protect the military installations here in the Hawaiian Islands. That brings Hawaii into harm's way.
It's hard to reverse something that is economically and militarily forced upon you. You become a diminished people, which is the plan. That's the plan. You know, there's more military people here than there are Hawaiians. Just the thought of it gives you a sense of what happened to us.
Don't be a coward. Don't be a coward. Stand up. Be counted. Stand up and be proud to be American. Nation, thank you. That's it. Thank you. Thank you.
Later that day, the Marine Corps held a public meeting to propose reopening a training site in Waikane Valley. So you see what they do to us? Sit on the road and make us feel the patriotic spirit, like we're a part of something once again. So we support them. And the same day they held a meeting saying, see, now that you support us, let us train in your sacred mountain so we can destroy it. Waikane. Oh, man.
I have a map here. It was given to me by a retired admiral. It shows the lands that are occupied by the military now, approximately 200,000 acres, not including Coast Guard, National Guard, and military sea and air space. Nearly a quarter of the island of Oahu is controlled by the military.
A quarter!
56% of the military-controlled lands in Hawaii consist of occupied Hawaiian national lands.
National
or the
lands.
Ceded lands. And
Ceded
this is indicated here.
We have never consented to the taking of those lands. And further, about half to maybe 60% of the lands that the U.S. military occupies right now are our national lands, the so-called ceded lands.
Lands here are not ceded. The more appropriate term would be seized. These are seized lands, and that is called occupation.
People talk about this as though this is fact, that Hawaiians somehow ceded these lands to the government, whether it's the state or the federal government. These are the Hawaiian Kingdom Crown and government lands. It's the Republic of Hawaii under Sanford B. Dole's government that ceded these lands to the U.S. federal government in 1898, 5 years after the U.S. government helped back them in overthrowing the Queen. Ceded is a polite word for stolen. And when we talk about the Hawaiian Kingdom Crown and government lands, we're talking about 1.8 million acres of land.
Just like my grandma.
They had to disguise Hawaii as being annexed by treaty. A treaty is supposed to convey from a grantor to a grantee. There is no treaty. All you have is the joint resolution. The joint resolution is not cession. The joint resolution is a unilateral act seizing the territory of another country. That's not cession. And the joint resolution cannot afford.
61 years after the U.S. supposedly annexed Hawaii, the United States conducted the fraudulent statehood vote of 1959.
Affect a foreign country. A joint resolution can no more annex Afghanistan today than it could annex Hawaii in 1898. There's no treaty. Hawaii is not a part of the United States.
The first thing you look at when you talk about statehood, just as a historian, is, you know, where's the self-determination here? The so-called plebiscite here takes
1959 plebiscite vote for statehood took place 1 year before the United Nations General Assembly formalized its decade-old view that all colonial territories and people are entitled to independence. 1 year before they did this, they took Hawaii. 1 year later, we would have been independent.
Takes its form as a general election in which virtually everyone here is allowed to vote, not just the people who are
Hawaii
actual
was on the United Nations
inheritors
list
of the situation. You have military personnel who are allowed to vote, and even then, there's not an overwhelming number of people who vote, not an overwhelming percentage, and then you're given a choice between statehood and the maintenance of a territorial status. And so there's clearly no
options for independence or to reinstate the Hawaiian Kingdom were not included on the ballot. So sorry Afros, you guys not going back to your kingdom, but you can either have statehood or territory status. Isn't that what they did to the rest of the people in Pacific? Either made them a territory or a state, or
exercise of self-determination, not given the full range of choices. When you look at this from the perspective of analyzing this as a colony, then the United States has basically avoided having to measure up to UN standards.
What I think we need to really do is have a really critical analysis that can read the settler colonial landscape and talk about how the military doesn't just occupy with tanks. The US government occupies with making our homeland unaffordable, so our people have to move to Vegas to survive, or increasingly these days Texas and Oklahoma, right? And that this becomes yet another wave. I mean, we're in another whole wave of tourist encroachment in terms of also home ownership. I mean, the homelessness in Hawaii has almost tripled just in the last 3 years. And so what we've got is a whole nother wave of neo-colonial occupation. And I think we need to bring those two things in the same frame and not get confused.
this is on the north shore of Oahu, where all the waves.
They always
surf
threatening
spots.
us. They coming in to get us off the beach. They come in and they steal all our belongings. They arrest us. I feel like Queen Kalani sometimes when she was waiting for them to come and get her and tell her that they're going to imprison her. And that's what it feels like sometimes. For me, it's like...
Marie, her husband John, and their family were evicted from Mokuleia. They moved to the side of the road, and a few weeks later were evicted from the road.
She went through it. It's like we going through it. Still.
Every month, the whole police, they go after all these homeless people, and they take all their belongings.
Going through the same thing.
We have to go as a Hawaiian. I'd rather just kill myself and get it over with. Might as well line us up and just blow us all away because we want problem to them.
All my life, they wanted me to fear them. I'm not doing it no more. For who I am and for who my ancestors are.
Kule!
You didn't do it.
That's just what ethnic cleansing establishes. That's just what diaspora establishes. You have no place to live. You do not have a home. You're not there. My cousin died in Kapolani Park. He was a homeless person. I didn't even know that. He died in his sleeping bag. And he was discovered because, you know, they come in there periodically to push them away. He died of a heart attack.
I got trashed by the law when they gave me 5 minutes to move out of the bushes. I lost everything I owned.
One of the homeless camps on the Waianae coast, this is where Makua Valley is, where over 3,000 Hawaiians live on the beaches and in the bushes on the side of the road.
In that bushes. In California. You can go in with $100 and come out with almost 2.5 shopping carts of groceries. You go in here, you come out, you don't even need the cart to walk out. It's supposed to be over easy, but I never get an egg. If he wants good eggs, then he's gonna do his own egg. You know, but right now he can't do the egg.
Annie and her husband live at Lualuale Beach, aka sewers, because of the sewage treatment plant across the road. Now believe me, I go over here and surf and dive and see my brother. And this thing is the most stinkiest area right here. I'm driving on this road right here. And you gotta roll up your windows. You still smell it. Turn off your AC. It's intense. And these people live here all day next to this disgusting sewage facility that just dumps raw sewage into the water. Oh my God.
You can. So I'm doing his eggs. He's gonna get his eggs the way I cook it. Who? Yeah. This is Hawaii, and the Hawaiians that are homeless do not have a place to go. The state's selling off the land, and the Hawaiian people, who are majority are in poverty.
What do you mean?
I care. And that's AU.
Oh.
Have you ever seen the apology bill? It says that on October 27th,
Apology resolution was signed into law by President Bill Clinton
to
in
acknowledge
1993.
Anniversary of January.
In it, the United States admits to the crime of the legal overthrow of the Hawaiian Kingdom.
1893 overthrow of the kingdom, to offer the apology to the native Hawaiians on the behalf of the United States for the overthrow of the Kingdom of Hawaii. Whereas prior to the arrival of the first Europeans in 1778, the native Hawaiian people lived in a highly organized, self-sufficient social system based on communal land and sophisticated language, culture, and religion.
The United States basically doesn't consider apology laws amounting to much. They acknowledge the history, but it doesn't really have any kind of force, even in the highest court of the land. So what you're basically faced with is the question of what can we do legally? What can we do in terms of addressing the legal community to secure our rights our rights as a nation, our national rights. And, you know, the answer, as near as I can tell, is at this point is not very much.
When you carefully read the records of the Congress, especially the secret transcripts of May 31st, 1898 in the U.S. Senate, the purpose of the annexation was military necessity. Military necessity, and that the joint resolution was to be considered as an agreement between the House and Senate to authorize the President to seize Hawaii under the law of nations as a matter of military necessity. Now, if Hawaii was seized by military necessity, then the measurement of that seizure is in international law. It's not American domestic laws, because what is being seized is a foreign state. Now, by seizing this foreign state did not diminish Hawaii's sovereignty. It's still intact, but it's occupied.
That's how occupation works. The military comes in, secures and constructs this land as one that is safe, available, and open for business.
And as long as Hawaiians can cloud title, the U.S. military cannot expand in the way that it wants to. And so what you've got with the Akaka bill is the federal government sitting down a group of Hawaiians that it authorizes.
The primary purpose of the Akaka bill is to get you to collaborate with the U.S. government in erasing the effect of the 1993 apology resolution. Okay? Because the apology resolution finally admits what you and your kupuna and your ancestors have known all along, which is that you have never given up your sovereignty to the United States. Finally, in 1993, they timidly accepted, acknowledged the truth.
What we have right now with the Akaka bill is a land grab in the disguise of granting Hawaiians the rights of American Indians.
That's the basis of the Akaka bill, to exercise self-determination within U.S. law, namely to become a recognized tribe. That's completely irrelevant if Hawaii is not a part of the United States to begin with.
What's not being exposed is that this is the state government trying to get the federal government to pass this legislation so that the state government and the federal government can snuff out any existing claims that the Hawaiian people and other descendants of the Hawaiian Kingdom still have over our Hawaiian Kingdom crown and government lands.
There's what is legal and what is political. And clearly, what Hawaiians have discovered is that our political case, our political will, that's not really constrained by any kind of court or any kind of legislation. That's only constrained by how much we're willing to do, how far we're willing to commit to know who we are, to study our history, and to insist that we are a nation.
No sellout, no bill.
In 1898, we had over 38,000 of our kupuna who said no to annexation. So we have never given a consent. Yet we find ourselves today, our so-called elder, begging on his knees, proudly, to the Senate, begging to be recognized as a native. How embarrassing, how painful, how shameful that we must beg to be recognized who we are. I'm sorry that he doesn't know his history. We are Kanaka to these lands, Maule to these lands, Oiwi to this land, to the Aina, that can never be severed or broken away. We know that. Their game is to make us to forget that. Our right to govern ourselves can never be taken away. It can only be given away. And that's what the Akaka bill is about. It's about a fraud, it's about a facade. It's about Hawaiians giving their consent to be incorporated under the United States of America.
For the past 100 years, all we have here are illegal acts being imposed in a sovereign country.
Let's say hypothetically somebody said, yes, let's settle. We will compromise. What does that get us? People are actually signing on to something that will help us extinguish title that we've never done heretofore, and it's been over 113 years since the overthrow. The fact that we still have that claim in our hands and that it was reaffirmed in the Apology Resolution of 1993 is a very, very powerful thing. I'd rather be holding on to that. Just because I can't realize that claim, or just because our people can't realize that claim, thanks to settler colonialism and military occupation and tourist inundation, it doesn't mean that we forfeit it and that we give it up. We don't relinquish the claim. We continue to assert the claim. We assert it and we assert it and we say as loudly as possible, we do not consent, whether we live in Kentucky or Waianae. We do not consent to this.
On Maui's case, it's really what comes along with the military. You know, it's that capitalists, it's a large money holders who come along for the ride, and especially, you know, tying into tourism or the kind of resort mentality. We're in dire straits. I mean, I really look at this, we're in an emergency situation at this point for affordable housing. The average price is at $1 million. The average price of a home in 1 year has gone up to about $260,000 in 1 year. The result that we have today, of course, which is, you know, people homeless. These aren't just people that are on the margins of society. We're talking about families are living in those family areas. Their paradise is driving us out of our homeland.
That's all a part of ethnic cleansing. Bring in the tourists, let them buy the rich places, build hotel resorts, do it. Then the Hawaiians will leave, the diaspora will increase. Of course it'll be increased because we don't have any place to live.
This is Kepaniwai. The land we're standing on right now are all part of the land that was taken during the confiscation of the land after the illegal invasion in 1893. The ditch system is owned or claimed to be owned by people like A and B, Alexander and Baldwin, who take the water.
Here it is. Alexander and Baldwin claim to own the water, yet the water in our Constitution is for the people.
Out of our valley for their own financial gain and speculative causes out there for their economic benefit. And there are a whole series of ditches like this that take millions and millions of gallons of water every day out of valleys like Wailuku. The stream actually flows up here, but by the time it reaches the ocean, it's totally dry. Nothing is coming out. Life comes from the mix of their fresh and salt water. And you have, of course, the production of seaweed. And from the small seaweed, of course, then you have smaller fish that's eaten by the big fish that's eaten by the kanaka. So the whole question about overfishing being what's destructive to the environment.
The second wettest place on earth is on Maui. But today, only 2 of Maui's 34 natural streams and rivers make it to the sea. And all that's left of the native forest of South Maui is 5% of what it once was.
Fishing to me is really a fallacy and fraud, because in reality it's the destruction of the environment that's caused the problems with what appears to be overfishing. In Hawaiian, you have that saying, "Hahai ka'uai ka'ulala'au." Rain follows the trees. If the trees are gone, that means the rain is gone. If you got no rain in the uplands, that means you got no rain in the lowlands. And no rain in the lowlands, of course, has a direct effect on the amount of life that's being produced. When you look at the amount of water that's being depleted of the streams, I mean, this is really an environmental crime that's going on, we're witnessing right now. And the environmental crime, of course, is a crime against humanity. In fact, as we as the Kanaka who take our sustenance or life from those foods. And so, so we're not talking about just some water being diverted, but virtually all of the water being diverted. I mean, you can clearly see right now, this is almost every day.
Hawaiians and Hawaiian Islands, everything is on holistic system. It's like our Ahupua'a system. Ahupua'a system is a land management system that divides the land up from the mountain to sea in different sections around the island. In your Ahupua'a, in your land management system that runs from the mountain to the sea, you have everything you need for survive here. You can find the material you need for cover the hale, cover yourself with clothes. You can find the food.
More than 90% of everything consumed in Hawaii, including food, is shipped in from the continental United States.
Up Mauka, up Makai, we used to run things. Our environment nowadays like that, we would not have all of the problems that we face today. These triangles right here represent my island. It means I'm from Molokai, but more important, this is the highest mountains on my island. This is Kamako, which is right in the back of us. I also get a tallow leaf on my arm, which identifies me to anybody in Polynesia, anybody throughout the world, that I am of the family of Haloa. Okay? With these tattooed on me, it gives me a good sense of where I'm from, who I am, and what my kuleana. It connects me. Okay? It connects me like this pond connects us to the top of the mountains. This nursery pond is fed by a spring, an underground lava tube that feeds water from there to here. It also brings Oopu, Opai, and Hapavai into this system.
When you suck from the top.
Molokai Ranch covers 1/3 of the island, encountered oppositions to plans for an exclusive resort on 500 acres of La'au Point.
The well. You suck 1 foot. You drain the aquifer 1 foot. Under the aquifer, get the lens, and you get the brackish water lens, and you get the salt water. So every time you suck 1 foot, the brackish water and the salt water move 40 feet. It's a 1:40 ratio.
So springs,
so what's happening on our reef
devastating.
Is just as bad as what's happening to our rivers. So there's not only one effect in the mountain, I think affect the whole reef area. So all the places where get the springs for the ele and all that kind of stuff for the mullet and all the baby fish for eat, like all these oases,
the nurseries,
all the reef, all the nurseries,
all get affected. The more the brackish water limos in.
So it's like, bro, you cannot be sucking.
What about the spring wheel?
In time, eventually, they all gonna get affected.
Down here. Yeah, all these springs going down.
Down.
If we don't fight back, we out of here. We're in history because this place could become so expensive and so valuable monetarily.
They did threaten us with the kind though, like, oh, if you guys not don't approve of this plan, you guys don't support it, you know, we could just sell it to the military.
So what?
Yeah. To strike a brigade, this and that.
They always think, oh, they're real aggressors. But fuck, just their presence is aggressive.
Yeah.
I think it's the whole country of America behind it. You know, it's like talking about equality. If you look at them and what they represent is the fucking military, the fucking overthrow of the kingdom, the fucking.
You find out just in the time frame where we living in, if we don't fight, then this next 30 years, this next 50 years.
So what I always say.
Gonna be the last 50 years of Hawaiian existence. But we're gonna survive the act of trying to wipe us out. We're gonna bounce back, gain momentum, and then we're gonna continue being kanaka. But it almost seems like these next
Molokai Ranch owners closed all of their businesses on the island, blaming community resistance to La'au Point development. So they took everybody's job because they wouldn't approve the resort.
Several decades gonna be super critical. We fought against Molokai Ranch to stop the development.
In a single day, 4.3% of the island's workforce lost their jobs. That's how they do us. We don't want to play ball? Well, fuck you. You lose your job. For real.
La'au Point. Then they dropped all of their workers, like 4% of Molokai's workforce, no jobs. They tried to shut off their water to all the people that bought land down on the west end side. They shut down the Kaluakoi Hotel. They shut down the theaters. They shut down the golf course. And right now, after all of that, they leased all of this land to Monsanto. So it's like the battle never stopped. And we're still fighting them today, even though they lost. Because they just passed whatever they had in the battle to another entity that's willing to fight and willing to go against our island and our community and the Hawaiian people.
What does Monsanto grow?
Monsanto grows corn that is not edible. They grow these experimental corn. Right now, everything we see, all of this was once Molokai Ranch. Now is under the control of Monsanto. We have the most open field test sites for GMOs in the whole world. Pretty much make
Monsanto, also the maker of Agent Orange, and other corporations like Syngenta and Dow, created the largest concentration of genetically modified organisms, GMOs, on the earth in Hawaii.
It's just a big sacrifice though. Because what it does is, I mean, we sacrificing our water, our land, our people, and our future for experiments. Experiments. So, I mean, that's pretty much, yeah. This is us on platter. Do what you like. If we die, we die. Because this company always get money and they get the resources for justify their needs. They get the water over the Hawaiians. They're taking our water, which is our most precious, most valuable resource, and we're using them on stuff that we cannot eat. So to me, that's a no-brainer. That's stupid. Because we're not benefiting in any way besides maybe 30 jobs for Hawaiians. The tree line where you see the fields and the bushes, that's the start of the Hawaiian homestead, and it stretches from the tree line north to the right.
How many Hawaiians live there?
We have about maybe 300 families. That's so sad that we stay in a place this beautiful, and yet all of this is just sacrificed. Even if you're not one cornfield worker, even if you don't care about GMOs, this thing gonna affect the water you drink, the plants that you put into your body, and the plants that affect your whole system, and your kids, and your family, and your future. How can this not be important to us? Not only on Molokai, but to everybody. How can we allow these people for operate these operations for exist when we